Thank you all for being here. Thank you all so much for being here. The family of Marcus David Peters is present with us. Y'all make a little noise for them. We have been working for the past 3 weeks to ensure that there is justice and reformation for Marcus David Peters and all victims of state-sanctioned violence. Now, we've been organizing this for that amount of time, but organizing work for victims of state-sanctioned violence has been going on for many years, and we are part of that movement, so make some noise for that. So it is not by coincidence that we are gathered here today in the birthplace of American brutality. The story of Marcus David Peters began long before his arrival to this earth, long before the final breaths were taken at VCU Medical Center, where people were committed, where atrocities were committed against black adults and children's bodies and cast down a well. His story began long before May 14th, when the blood ran into the interstate of I-95 pavement, a highway intentionally built in a way to destroy black communities and drive millions into perpetual poverty. Long before his employment at the Jefferson Hotel, an establishment named for a man who allegedly stood up for freedom and liberty, but affirmed a constitution that denied that to men and women of color. His story began long before he committed to try to help children being served by a public school system that enslaves more black children than any other state in this country. We are not here by coincidence. We are here to affirm the dignity of Marcus's life, the value of his life, the importance of his life. We are here to say to this country, to this state, to this city, that the police department, that we must end the murder and dehumanization of black and brown people. We demand justice for Marcus David Peters. So we gathered at the Siegel Center, not by coincidence. Marcus David Peters graduated from VCU. He graduated from this building. The next folks coming up are VCU community organizers, Kadai Tavir and Taylor Davis. After the silence from VCU, they and 2 other students got together to create an open letter detailing their demands to the university, and they will be reading an excerpt of that letter today. The founding charter asked us to confront on an intellectual and practical level the social environment which surrounds us, to relate ourselves to the community and participate in the solution of existing problems. VCU's mission remains unchanged today, embodying our commitment as a positive force for progress to improve lives, save lives, and give lives meaning, according to VCU.
These are the words of our founding charter, and this is the core of VCU's 2018 strategic plan. So then, why did one of our community members who aimed to improve the lives of others in the Richmond area fall victim to a problem that has been existing for centuries, state-sanctioned violence, while VCU remained complicit? We, the VCU and Richmond community, find ourselves so disheartened and ashamed by the lack of response from VCU in regards to the unjust killing of Marcus David Peters by a local Richmond police officer. Marcus David Peters was an honorable student at Virginia Commonwealth University who studied from the College of Humanities and Sciences and graduated magna cum laude in this building. He later went on to teach biology at Essex County High School. Marcus was a residential assistant during his time at VCU and was highly respected and regarded within the university. The university's silence on the death of such a high-achieving student has been deafening. It has been a stark contrast to the values that are being expressed by this administration. VCU can no longer improve or save Marcus David Peters' life, but they can still make his death meaningful.
We got more. As a community, we will be holding VCU accountable with 2 demands. First, we would like VCU to release a statement acknowledging the loss of Marcus David Peters, a valuable member of the VCU and Richmond community. This must include specific outreach to the family who is strong enough to attempt to create change in a community after such a strong and significant trauma. Second, we ask that VCU release an additional statement with a critical stance on the use of force that killed Marcus David Peters by the hands of a Richmond Police Department. We understand that there is a live investigation in regards to the shooting, but that does not diminish the life that was taken. The investigation is on the semantics of the shooting. Even if all protocols are found to be followed, the use of force justified, a system rendered Marcus David Peters' death and not help is broken. We are asking that the first statement be released within 1 week of receiving the letter, which falls on June 11, 2018 at 5:36 p.m., the time of the shooting. This date marks 4 weeks since Marcus David Peters was shot unarmed on the highway, and the time correlates to the exact time the exact timestamp. Additionally, we are allowing for 18 days from the initial receipt of this letter for the release of the stance critical on the use of force. We are generally selecting 18 days when it only took 18 seconds to make a decision that ultimately ended the life of Marcus David Peters.
So we have individuals with clipboards that have signature sheets if you want to sign and sponsor this letter. One of them is behind over there, and then one's over here. And we also have the full letter in detail if you would like to read it. And it will be going out to VCU this following Monday.
Wow. Let's thank them. Thank you. Even though the administration don't speak up, the students are speaking out. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's what has to happen. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Dr. James Henry Harris, who is the pastor of Second Baptist Church, 1400 Idlewood Avenue. I love this pastor. When he heard about this incident, do you know he reached out? We didn't have to reach into him. He reached out. We did not have to reach into him. And that is a total blessing. We have a friend that is a friend to the continual struggle for justice and equality. And I just have the pleasure of introducing him to some of you and presenting him to others. Dr. James Henry Harris, he has served as pastor at Second Baptist Church for over 25 years. He is a distinguished professor of preaching and social justice at the Virginia Union University. He has taught for over 25 years. He's an author, a father, but as I say to you, he is a friend to justice and equality. And I appreciate him so much, and I'm excited to say, would you please come up, Dr. James Henry Harris, and present to our people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to be gathered here today. I am always so grateful to be in the presence of those who have committed and dedicated themselves to justice and fairness. And so today we gather again. This afternoon we gather in the former capital of the Confederacy, where those who survived the Middle Passage, packed, stuffed, and shackled, and chained were renamed, reoriented, and reintroduced to a brand new suffering, a new pain, a new evil that neither law nor custom seem to be able to stamp out. It's the spirit of domination and the denigration of the other, the black other, that causes Du Bois to say that it suddenly dawned upon him that he was different from the others, shut out from their world by a vast veil. We are called today to dramatize our discontent by continuing. I better leave that alone. We are called today to dramatize our discontent by continuing the march for justice and righteousness, a justice both delayed and denied to the millions of black men and women victimized by the long, vicious hand of the slavocracy that has morphed into the new form of law and order that results in the pipeline to prison for young black boys and men, and for those who don't make it to court because they have been eternally silenced by the sovereignty of the state represented by the autonomy of the police. We must understand today that we have seen this story, we have witnessed this story before. We have witnessed this pain. We have experienced this suffering time and again, from Emmett Till's gruesome mangled body in 1955 to the phalanx of black bodies eviscerated by violence and hateful and irrational acts of injustice and evil. We must stand and tell our people that enough is enough.
Right.
The time for freedom, the time for hope, the time for reform is now. Now, not tomorrow, but now. Not sometime in the distant vistas, but today. Today is the day for reform. Today is the day for justice. Today is a day for us to think anew and develop a brand new consciousness about what we face in America today.
That's right.
I say to you again that there's almost a straight line from the over 300 years of slavery to the present moment. Like slavery itself was a government-sanctioned hypocrisy and evil, a democratic and Jeffersonian duplicity that continues even today, sanctioned by the New South, the new slave master, the police, and the slave system itself, the prisons and jails that house more black males than high schools and colleges. This reality, this evil reflected in the killing of Marcus David Peters, a 24-year-old science teacher, an honor graduate, I'm told, from VCU, a magna cum laude graduate, is a continuation of a systemic injustice seen throughout our cities across America. This black pain, this black suffering almost suffocates so many of us and keeps us from breathing and speaking. But I say to you today that I, like so many of you, must speak because the time for us to keep silent has already passed. And we cannot be silent. The struggle, the pain, the suffering we face today, I, like so many of you, wake up every day to the same kind of suffering and pain. Just like Dr. Martin Luther King said in September of 1963 in Birmingham, after the segregationists bombed the church and killed the little white girls during Sunday school, he said that they didn't die in vain. And so I say to you today that we must not allow the death of Marcus and the deaths of thousands of other young black males and females to be in vain.
That's right.
We must not allow it.
Right.
Make no bones about it, the death of Marcus Peters, a 24-year-old black male, is the same thing as a lynching. Tased, then shot at close range, naked, and treated like an animal. I'm saying to you, this is cruel torture. This is brutality. This is evil and ugly behavior by those sworn to protect. It is a miracle from God. I say to you today that all of us, particularly black males and females, it's a miracle from God that all of us are not declared mentally ill today because of the suffering and because of the pain. So, my beloved, Marcus has not died in vain. His death has something to say to all of us. The death of this unoffending, this innocent, this beautiful, gifted black man has something to say to every person, every minister of the gospel, every silent politician, every person who promises one thing and does another, every element of injustice and racism in this system. Marcus's untimely death, shot and killed by the police, by the state of Virginia, by the city of Richmond, has something to say to every person, every black person, every red person, every white person, every yellow person who thinks that this has nothing to do with them. And we need to recognize that everybody who stands out on the sidelines, clutching and holding on to their own security and their own safety, I say to you today that this is the time for all of us to get involved. We can no longer stand on the sidelines. We have to be able to get on the front lines and fight for justice. And so I say to you today, my beloved, that we have to march.
Right.
Yes, we have to march until the colonialist mentality is replaced with a sense of justice.
Yes.
We have to march because we are fighting for justice that manifests itself as fairness,
Yeah.
where no other black man or woman has to be killed
Speak that truth.
in this age, in this day, in this democracy.
Speak that truth.
We demand the same restraint by police that is shown every day when it comes to confronting white men
Speak that
who
truth.
overwhelmingly walk away from encounters with the police,
Yeah.
often far more egregious and far more confrontational.
Yeah.
And yet they walk away.
Speak that
A
truth.
black man is a perceived threat even when naked.
Speak that
A
truth.
threat with no weapons.
Yeah.
A threat with nothing on him to be pulled on the police.
Yeah.
A threat with a college degree.
Uh-huh.
And a threat with no degree at all.
Come on, Doc.
A threat as a teacher.
Tell it.
And a threat as a security officer.
True.
It seems to me that blackness is a threat to almost anybody and everybody,
that true.
including those who wear uniforms.
Speak that true.
Too many in our society, in our nation, are totally blind and unconscious of the humanity of black lives,
Yeah.
male or female. Today, we say that blacks are still treated like slaves by the state, by the police,
True that.
and we must march and say and declare that that day is over, and we cannot stand by and allow it to happen anymore.
Right.
We have to stand up for justice. We have to stand up for peace.
Go ahead.
We have to stand up for righteousness.
Yeah.
We have to stand up for fairness.
Yeah.
And none of us
Right.
is going to be free
That's right.
until all of us are free.
That's right.
None of us
That's right.
is going to be treated justly
That's right.
until all of us are treated justly.
That's right.
None of us can feel safe until all of us are safe.
That's right.
So I say to you today, stand up.
Yeah.
Stand tall.
Right.
Stand firm.
Come on.
Develop a new consciousness about what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And don't let nobody convince you or treat you in such a way that you don't deserve to be treated like a human being.
Yeah.
All of us are human.
That's right.
Marcus was a human being,
Tell the truth.
even though he was treated like a dog.
Right.
Marcus was a human being, and all of us are human beings.
Yeah.
And we need to recognize that the same thing that we are calling for him, we're calling for all of us.
Right.
Let us march for justice.
Yeah.
Let Richmond know. Let the whole world know that the former capital of the Confederacy has a new day coming.
Right.
And a new understanding coming.
Yes, sir.
And a new understanding of life coming. Go forth with a renewed hope.
Yeah.
And a renewed determination. Hearing anew the words from the great prophet Amos when he says, let justice fall down like waters.
Yeah.
And righteousness like a mighty stream.
Go ahead.
Go forth.
Go ahead.
Fight for justice.
Right.
Go forth.
Yeah.
Fight for reform.
Come on.
Go forth.
Yeah.
Fight for a new form of peace.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
forth and fight for your own humanity.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Amen.
Powerful. This is about justice. It's about reformation. Now we gonna march, y'all. We gonna march. I see a lot of people with cameras out here. Thank you. Just a quick note. Please, we want to collect all photos, so if you can upload those and drop those to justiceformarcusdavidpeters@gmail.com. Photographers, that is justiceformarcusdavidpeters@gmail.com.
No, David, just justice for Marcus Peters.
Excuse me, just justiceformarcuspeters@gmail.com. That's why we work in a team. All right, y'all. So we gonna march. Make some noise. All right. Listen closely. listen closely to how this is going to look. We're going to have our lead banner in the front. So lead banner in the front over here. And if we can start clearing this walkway over here, because we